had 6 months ago. AEW only has like 6, 7 major events every year.
No, pay-per-views, they have 4.
They have 4 pay-per-views, and then they
a
have like
couple of
3,
special
4 like
dynamites.
quote-unquote major events. Yeah. So it's like, so they actually mean something, as opposed to WWE. WWE, I mean, within 3 months, you can have 6 pay-per-views.
Right, yeah, especially with NXT.
Yeah, and you have completely forgot, by the time you're at that 6th one, what happened at the 3rd one, let alone what happened at the 1st one.
Yeah, no, it's so good with AEW, because by the time a pay-per-view finally rolls around, I actually want there to be a pay-per-view. You know?
Yeah,
let something happen. Yeah, there's a good build-up, and you want that you want something from it. And
this was the year, Pasty, and it might have been Backlash. I don't fucking know, but I think it was later in the year. This was the year that WWE had a pay-per-view literally 7 days after a pay-per-fucking-view. It was fucked. Actually, it was later, because I think it was SummerSlam, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, and Backlash was bad because it was the week after, just days after the Greatest Royal Rumble.
And that couldn't have been any good.
This was when the Sheamus Jeff Hardy's drug addict shit came back. The drunk driving shit storyline started. Asuka won the championship here. That was good. Braun Strowman defeated Miz and Morrison. It
wasn't after the Greatest Royal Rumble, Pasty. Backlash was in June, and they were locked down long before that.
Yeah, you're right. It was,
but nonetheless,
Double or Nothing. But nonetheless, yeah, Backlash was pretty rough. Drew McIntyre defended his gold against Bobby Lashley. Braun Strowman defeated Miz and John Morrison in a 2-on-1 handicap for the Universal Championship. And then they had the greatest wrestling match ever, Randy Orton defeating Edge in the last time anybody saw Edge in a WWE.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure I didn't watch any of that, so I just said it sucked just because I wouldn't watch it, and then I think you watched some of it or something, and it was horrible, so we just went with F.
Yeah, I think I fell asleep before the main event.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was not good. Not a good show.
Pointless, folks. Pointless. But I mean, WWE, it's a new decade, it's a new year, it's a new day, it's a new month. WWE could come back this year, Pasty.
They could. I almost expect it. But at the same point, they got Vince McMahon. So who the fuck knows? What we do know is 2020 had one major comeback of the year. And honestly, it's something I never thought I'd be saying. Fucking Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam as a heel and finding out a week later that Paul Heyman was his manager. Yes. Roman Reigns finally gets an award that isn't shitting all over him, because that's usually what he gets stuck with.
He got a positive award, and he's earned it. I think he's earned it.
He has. Yeah.
And I look at this, and I'm like, you know what? I don't blame Roman for his years of being stuck as a fucking worthless, shitty babyface. Because if he looks like he's really enjoying and going all in on this heel, it's like, you can tell this is what it should have been. I mean, it was from the very beginning. When he came in as the Shield, he was a heel.
The heel. Yeah.
But then they wanted to make him the next John Cena, because Cena was getting movie roles, and it's like, it just didn't work. And now, I mean, Reigns looks like he's having the most fun he's had since being in WWE at all.
Oh, definitely. His work lately with Kevin Owens has been really good, too. They did a cage match, and then they had, I don't even think it was a match. It might have just been a brawl where they fought back into the Thunderdome screens area, and he threw Kevin Owens off of like the second row through a table, and it looked brutal. And he legit busted Kevin Owens open with punches prior to doing it too. Just a little bit of blood, but you could tell.
Right, it was hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to turn probably the second most over babyface team in the Usos, New Day being the most over, into heels. I mean, we don't even know how he did it. He just beat the shit out of one of them, and then it's like, okay, fuck, you can't beat him, join him. Now they're part of him. And they come off as legit heels now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they were
I
doing
don't even
that,
have this inkling like, oh, he's gonna turn on Roman at one point and da-da-da.
Right, they did that. What was that? Locked. What were they doing? Where they were like locked down or whatever? Remember when they tried to be heels in the past? It was something jail related. It didn't. It basically, by your silence, we can assume it didn't work. The last time they tried to make the Usos heel.
Yeah.
Uso Penitentiary. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't fucking work at all.
It did. Well, when they were in that heel gimmick mode, though, we had that tag team Hell in a Cell match with them in the New Day, and that was one of the best Hell in a Cell matches we've seen in a very long time.
Oh, it was an awesome match. They just weren't great heels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Outside of the ring, they just didn't really.
Yeah, they also did that shitty rap battle with Wale as the judge.
Oh.
Although Jey Uso did jab at Xavier Woods for fucking Paige, that was good.
Yeah. It was rough. Big shout out to Wale though, man. Wale Mania got canceled this last year also, and that's always a great fucking show, and hopefully 2021 gets Wale Mania again.
Yes.
Wale
does the new theme song for Big E.
Does he?
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's pretty good.
I've never heard it, but it's still awesome.
I'm sure you'll hear it once.
Once.
He is your Intercontinental Champion.
Nobody knew that, to be honest. Speaking of nobody knew that, nobody knew what was going to happen. And I can guarantee you, folks, this next award, this was not given out of pity at all. In fact, again, this was on our contenders before anything happened with Mr. Brodie Lee. Basically, best faction this year, Dark Order. Yes. And this was a year with a lot of factions emerging. AEW is the WWE of the mid-90s, where everybody has to be in a faction. That's just what it is. There's Jurassic Express with 3 people. There's Kingston's group. There's
Eddie
Pac's
Kingston's
group.
fam. Bebe's kids.
Everybody's got a faction. And the fact that this isn't even the main faction, you could argue that the Inner Circle's the main faction, but the Inner Circle, super hit or miss this year. Sometimes they were great, sometimes they were corny as shit and reminded me of like early 90s, late 80s WWF.
We're not talking shit on Dinner Debonair. That was some Class A shit, okay?
Just
to get
awesome.
That clear. That was
100%.
Amazing.
That was awesome. I agree.
Super props to them.
But Dark Order, man, these guys came from being a nothing group who couldn't even throw fucking punches that everybody knew wouldn't last. And I think it literally took Brodie Lee coming in. And again, we're not sucking in the dick of the dead, okay? We're not doing that. But when Brodie Lee came in, not only did he give some legitimacy to it, I honestly don't think most people know the Super Smash Brothers. I think most people listening to this would hear the Super Smash Brothers and think of a video game. And they were the biggest name in the Dark Order, was the Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's like, so obviously Brodie Lee came in, and not only did he give him legitimacy, but they actually changed the way they worked.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I love what they evolved into. And if you weren't really following outside of just Dynamite or Dark, you probably wouldn't notice it, because Dark Order shined most on being the elite with their comedy acts and all the skits they put together.
The side Dark Order people, not the main. Exactly.
I mean, Brodie was in it for a good chunk too, up until that dog collar match. He was in it almost weekly after he joined. But he wasn't really the comedy. He was like the serious, screaming in people's faces, throwing papers. Are you crying, bitch? Yeah.
And then you see him fucking busting out. He corpsing like a motherfucker, just busting out laughing.
That's what they said. Every time he was on screen, he never broke character, but as soon as he was out of frame, he'd crack up, and he'd fuck up their shots so many times because of it.
Yeah, and he made all of them fucking corpse so much. Yeah. Of course, John Silver got over like fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they brought in Anna Jay, and I think Anna Jay has done amazing.
She is doing very good, and I look forward to more of what's to come yet, because she is still very green, very, very just beginning.
See, I really want her to become the new, if there is a new leader of the Dark Order, if anybody is, I want her. I don't want it to be an outside person.
Right.
I like her because, A, like you said, she's green, she needs work. She can be a mouthpiece. She can be a second. You know, she can be something like that. Plus, I mean, I don't know I don't know the history very much between Anna Jay and Brodie Lee, but I do know. Do you know why Anna Jay is 99, Pasty?
Not offhand, no.
Brodie Lee actually gave her that number, and he said that everybody in the Dark Order, for the most part, gets to pick their number, but he gave her that number because 99 is Wayne Gretzky's number. He's a huge hockey fan, and he feels she could become the greatest of all time.
See, he is a Canadian. I was right the whole time.
He's a closet Canadian. But yeah, so it's like, I mean, Brodie Lee even seen the greatness in her, so it's like, I can dig that. I can dig that for sure.
And as of this week's Dynamite, Ty Conti is part of the Dark Order too.
Is she?
Yes.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I like having more than one female in a faction. Cool beans.
I think so. I think they're building them up, and of course they're going to build them up to be something now, especially more than they were, first chapter Dark Order.
Right, they almost feel obligated
Dark
now. Order's
here. Brandy better make the Nightmare Collective faction because that makes sense.
Right.
That still kills me. But Dark Order has definitely showed up and shown out, and honestly, they're the reason I tune into Being the Elite Weekly.
There you go.
I can't wait to see their segments. The stuff where like the last 3 months, they've been trying so hard to get Hangman Page to join the faction. They threw a cowboy party and fucking had little tiny cowboy hats, and just so good. So good. You got to watch the shit. And
I will say, I know that's the overwhelming response on the internet, but I do not want Hangman to become the new leader of the Dark Order.
No.
Everybody
I want
seems
him
to want
to be
that,
in the Dark Order. I don't want him to be the leader of the Dark Order. And at that point, he could eventually turn on them and beat the leader to go back to the Elite at some point. But I do want Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Hangman Page to be a 3-man tag team for a long time.
We need the
bad, and the
title.
hungry. They say they're going to do it. They say they're going to have either a trios or a factions championship. And instead we got the second edition of the TNT championship.
Well, we got the black strap on it.
Yeah, the black strap on, my favorite one.
Oh! Speaking of black strap-ons, Pasty, what's the next award we got? What's the next big black beefy?
I never thought of the beefy being black, but from now on, you know what? It is!
Give it to me, baby. Come on.
It's time for the Beef Sticks Beefy Award Match of the Year winners to be crowned! Man, I gotta go to the Buxton FTR at Full Gear. This was a New Japan match in America.
It was.
It was everything you could possibly want in a match. It was the full package. And there were so many times.
I like how you called it the full package when we're talking about the big black beefy.
Yeah, exactly.
Full package.
Yeah, this match. As soon as it happened, we talked about it. We're like, this could be match of the year, and yeah, you're damn right. It was.
I mean, there was a handful of contenders for us, and there really was. Let's see, we had, I want to say...
Naito and Evil was on there, I'm pretty sure.
Naito and Evil, Ibushi Okada from Wrestle Kingdom, which got the pay-per-view of the year. The men's War Games match, I mean, it just recently happened, and was one of the best matches of all, and had some amazing talent in it.
For how long and how many false finishes there were in that match, it did almost feel like a Japan quality match.
Yeah, and that one you know what, that one I wouldn't have been upset with winning it, but I honestly do feel when you sat back and looked, it's like, Bucks FTR did it without a gimmick, and it was as good, if not better, but at least as good and without a gimmick